Good day, folks. Butchman here. Most generic, most average, least talented personality on YouTube. Okay, we're going right into it. This one's one of the unscheduled ones. I had to just put something together right quick, yo. This is regarding C.T. Fletcher's appearance on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. Now, only the best of the best are on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast, as we know. Danny Cage. There's your plug. 38 subscribers, buddy, are now going to see that. So, lots of people hear the Stone Cold podcast. One of the reasons I started this channel was because there was a lot of yarn, we'll say, spun improperly on YouTube channels. C.T. Fletcher is a big YouTube star. He's known in the fitness world. And he just spewed some garbage on Stone Cold podcast, and it's going to reach a whole lot of people, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. People with a huge following like someone like C.T. Fletcher has, they don't realize how much they're going to influence people. And the first thing he says is, he's got this supplement line, and he says that I don't follow the science. I don't know anything about the science of the supplement line. What I do is I use the supplements myself, and I, tell which ones are good and which ones aren't. Very noble to be your own guinea pig. But to say you don't understand the science, you're already kind of now damaging your credibility a bit. And I'll explain why. As the podcast is rolling along, Stone Cold Steve Austin mentions an exercise that we used to always do. It was in every gym, and it's behind the neck presses. And C.T. Fletcher goes on to say that he did behind the neck presses, and they're a great exercise, and he doesn't understand why we don't do them anymore, why they're not in gyms anymore. Now, you got to remember, C.T. Fletcher, the guy knows how to work out. He's huge. He's super strong. He was ridiculously strong. And he probably still is. He's freaking 58 years old. Is he natural? No possible way. No way in hell. Will he admit that? I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But by putting this out there about these behind the neck presses, he said that was how his bench got up there. So he didn't talk about the juice that he would do. He talked about behind the neck presses. So C.T. Fletcher goes on to say behind the neck presses are spectacular exercises. They're awesome. They helped him with his bench. Technically, that's true. However, unless you're making money powerlifting, it's just not worth it. It's not worth the damage that a behind the neck press can cause. He admits he doesn't know science behind his supplement line. He may not know the science behind anatomy and physiology either, because he stated that behind the neck presses were in the machine was in every gym, the bench that you would do it on. In every gym across America in the 80s, even in the 90s. The 90s it started fading out a bit. I'm sure in the 70s it was. And so he said that some eggheads, got together and decided that behind the neck presses were bad for you. That was his quote. That's not what happened. What happened was a lot of weightlifters were having injuries. We're having impingement syndromes. We're having shoulder injuries. We're having wear and tear problems, arthritis. And they'd go to the doctor, and the doctors were saying, look, it's this one exercise you're doing. So eventually, doctors then got with the eggheads. The eggheads started noticing the trend, or actually the workout guys got to the eggheads, and then the eggheads supposedly realized that this was a problem. The doctors knew it anyway because they understand anatomy and physiology. So, again, guys who would work out, who were natural, who didn't have the juice to help them. They didn't have the juice to aid in muscle recovery. They didn't have the juice to help them with inflammation reduction. They'd have to go to the doctors due to these shoulder issues. Unfortunately, I'm one of the people that had to do the research on why my shoulders were so shot. And it was due to the behind the neck press. So I'm like a walking issue of shoulder problems. This is why you should never do behind the neck presses. Okay, first off, pressing anything over your head with your neck and head in flexion, in any type of flexion like this, And that's what happens when you bring the weight down. You have to lean forward because you can't get your arms back far enough if your head is straight. So you lean forward, you bring the weight down, you're in extreme flexion. Puts a ton of pressure on the discs, puts a ton of pressure on the nerves of the cervical spine. Not good. Not good. These are the nerves from your freaking brain stem. Are you kidding me? They go down to your arms, they go to your pecs. The last thing you want to do is damage them. And secondly, and most important, is your shoulder does not have symmetrical stability. And what that means is, you have 4 rotator cuff muscles: the supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, subscapularis. So, would C.T. Fletcher know that? Would he know that? Would he know that there's 4 rotator cuff muscles? I don't know. So what these muscles do is they stabilize the shoulder, top, side, and underneath, actually. And the back. Top, back, side, and underneath. So, but they're not in the front. Then you have your deltoid muscle. Your deltoid muscle, which doesn't stabilize. It's an overlapper. So you got the front, you got the side, you got the rear. Then you have the trapezius muscle that lays over top. That's on the top and in the back. There's no stability for the front. So, when the shoulder is supported in all planes except the front. It's supported from the side, from the back, from underneath, not the front. Now, when you do a behind the neck press, what happens is you have to externally rotate your shoulders. When you externally rotate, you're putting a ton of pressure on the front where there is no stability. Now, you're putting weight on top of that. So you're adding weight to an already asymmetrical joint that can't handle that distribution anyway. At this point, you're running a big chance for a dislocation. You're gonna lax the ligament. The ligaments will start to get lax over time from the constant pressure to the front, also, which could work out to chronic dislocations. So you're just setting yourself up for damage in the future. And again, I'm living proof of this. Behind the neck presses are so bad for you. Let me start with this. I wasn't blessed with genetics, that's for sure. Here's a picture of me right here when I was in high school and I wrestled 103. My bone structure sucks. My joints suck. I have freaking childbearing hips. I have the worst genetics whatsoever. But for some reason, when I started working out, I could move some weight. I don't know why. I could move some weight. I was strong for my size. When I started exercising, the mantra at this time was right around 1990-ish, and from the 80s into the 90s was go heavy or go home. Well, I didn't go home, and I went heavy, and I did behind the neck presses, and I did heavy everything, and I mean everything. It would hurt, but I'd heal up. When you're 14, 15 years old, 14 I almost said. That's going to be a new number. 14. Okay, forget that. But you heal quickly. And then eventually, I didn't heal as good. The pain would stay a little longer. And then eventually, the pain was constant to where it is now. And I mean, we're talking some big weights here. We were, benching 315 for reps. Behind the neck press, 2.25 for reps. These are so not good. And with bench, I didn't like a lift off, so I had to lift it off myself, which would tear the bejesus out of my shoulders just from going back and forward. Jeez, that hurts just thinking about it. My God. Heavy incline, heavy deadlifts, heavy freaking bicep curls. I swear I wish I never did. As much as the accolades were fun at the time, didn't get me anywhere, and now I'm a mess. My structure just couldn't handle the weight that my muscles could. My shoulders are so beat to hell right now. I have 3 torn ligaments on the left and a torn labrum. I have 2 torn ligaments on the right and a torn labrum. I'll guarantee, all right, look, I did some improper lifts. We all did. But 85 to 90% of it was behind the neck presses. I could feel it every time I did it. C.T. Fletcher saying that his bench went up when he was doing behind the neck presses. That's technically true because when your delts, your rear delts and your side delts are that strong, you do get that recoil, that it's the reciprocating muscles, you know, the antagonists that help stabilize you for your bench. But again, unless you're making money powerlifting, there's no reason to do it. The benefits do not outweigh the risks. And this is what sucks, because CT Fletcher just probably told 300,000 people to do behind the neck presses, and I'm talking to 38 freaking subscribers about how bad it is, and backing it with freaking science, which he admits he doesn't even freaking know. Damn you! The one saving grace is that, you know, most of the people who are going to listen to Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast are wrestling fans. And, you know, I'd probably think 90% of wrestling fans haven't ever set foot in a freaking gym. If you've seen them, they like collect belts and stuff. Dorks. Look, CT Fletcher knows what he's doing as far as exercise goes. But he's on such a basic level when he talks like this. He doesn't. It's so frustrating to hear him spew something that bad, and then people are going to take his advice because he's huge. He's freaking huge. This goes back to my other reasons I made this freaking channel, to debunk these people that have a platform that spew this god-awful information. It's not worth it. I promise you. Look, if you want to know how to get your bench press up, my next video is going to be a freaking workout video. Not me working out, hells no. It's going to be a workout for you to do that will freaking skyrocket your bench press. And you won't hurt yourself. It's about a 3 to 6 month workout program, so be prepared. But it will freaking rocket your bench to the moon. And you won't hurt yourself. And you don't have to do behind the neck presses. It's going to be the best workout you've ever seen to get your bench up. I promise you that. You know, front presses aren't bad because you have you don't externally rotate for one. The front press, you come down and you're much more in plane. There's no external rotation. There's slight, but not much. And you're aided by the upper pec. You're aided by the upper pec. The stability is a lot more symmetrical. Something I forgot to mention, you know, when talking about what is covering what, the only thing that's in the front is the biceps tendon. You know, think about that. That's the only thing of any stability for the front of the shoulder. That when you're doing a behind the neck press, and the biceps tendon doesn't do anything for that. That's for anchoring your bicep in. That's the only thing that keeps the front anchor down. It's just not worth it, people. I can't stress that enough. And with that, this is your pal, the Butchman, signing off. And I'm freaking pissed because that guy just spewed out such horrible info to freaking hundreds of thousands of people. Damn it, that makes me mad. And some kid's going to say, CT Fletcher does behind the neck presses. That's how his bench got up. I'm going to do behind the neck presses. And he's going to freaking jack himself up because he's not on all the freaking artificials that CT Fletcher is on. Damn it, that just pisses me off. You're freaking talking about people with no education in that background. No, you know, everybody says, you know, everybody's different, so exercises work different. That's true, but anatomy isn't different. Anatomy is not freaking different. Anatomy is the same. Instabilities are the same. God, I'm going to try this again. Your pal Butch, the Butchman, is signing off. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. Do not do behind the neck freaking presses. Damn it! People, I don't have anything better to do.